Now let's open it up to questions. I believe we have 4 handheld mics, 2 circulating around the room, and it would be helpful if you would actually use those mics when asking your questions. Anybody?
Hi, Charlie Kaiser.
Let's get you a mic real quickly down here. Sorry, Charlie. There we go. Okay.
I had a question for Mr. Saleh. Please, sir, just tell us what you want today to achieve. Here we are in this remarkable museum in the shadows of the monuments of Washington, D.C., so far away from your home. In an ideal world, what would you like today to accomplish?
Thank you for... Is that on?
It's on. No.
Thank you for the question, sir. We need UN peacekeeper on the ground to stop the killing. We need United States government and its partners. They can send NATO or other forces to stop the killing in Darfur. And we need also the quality of life for people of Darfur in the refugees camp, like the daily basis that they've been doing in their villages as the farmers. The quality of life, what I mean, like providing build like greenhouses, and in the refugees camps, they can able to activate the season of raining, so they can help themselves. Also, we need people can help in order to find the solar stuff, because can that stop the rapes, because our mothers and sisters go out for looking for firewood to cook. So that's help them to stay in the refugees camp. We need also educated that Darfurian children who didn't get opportunity to go to school. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Sir.
Hi, Adam Brooks of the BBC. Can you just tell us, with regard to the actual satellite imagery on Google Earth in this area, how often will it be updated and how current a picture will it actually show?
I'm not the technical expert, but I suspect I'm best positioned to answer that. The data on Google Earth is updated regularly. It really depends on the data that we get, the imagery we get from the satellite providers who we have relationships with. So it's not as if it's on an automatically fixed schedule. It depends on the quality of the imagery. If the satellite takes pictures and they're poor weather or cloudy, we don't end up using the imagery. It's rarely very within a day or two. It's usually weeks or a few months afterwards that it has to get processed and put up online.
I'll add to that to say that updating the satellite imagery doesn't come without a cost to it, but we're planning on working. We've already worked with Google to update this imagery. It was actually the first step in the project was to upload high-resolution satellite imagery in the fall. That's the first thing that we did before any other information went in there. So, and in addition to that, we're going to be constantly updating the other kind of information that you see in the layers. So you would expect to see more photos very soon. As soon as the State Department's ready to release another layer on damaged and destroyed villages, that will be in there. So we, in the partnership, will be updating all of the information, including the satellite imagery, as fast as we can.
And just to follow up, I mean, is all the satellite imagery commercial? Is there any U.S. government input into that?
All of the data that we have is commercially available data.
So you're having to pay for that?
The data that we have here is no different than the imagery we have is as a result of the commercial relationships we have with the providers. That's right.
A question for Mr. Schrage. I was wondering what most Google Earth users look for or at, and what's going to make them pay attention to this?
You know, it's a great question. You know, and you learn a lot about human nature. Ask yourself, what's the first thing you would look at? And I think most people end up looking at their homes. But you know, what's so powerful about this, seriously, what's truly so powerful about this is that Google Earth as a tool enables people to see the relationships between where they live, their homes, and the rest of the world. And what's so powerful about the partnership is every time one of the 200 million users of Google Earth goes online, accesses the data, as of this morning, they will start seeing a yellow marking indicating a part of Africa. And I suspect that a tremendous number of them will say, I wonder why that's there. And they'll zoom in and they'll try to find out more. And I think that's exactly what we're hoping will happen.
I'd like to add on to that to say, I think that that's the power of the internet. Encountering information sort of just in time, rather than being intentional about coming to the museum's website or another place where you're going to get that information. To encounter it because you're planning maybe a trip, who knows, to Kenya, and you just pass over that today, you're likely to look at it and understand it better.
Let me just add to that really quickly. I mean, what we really try to do here is to build this community of conscience that will kind of actually respond to what's happening out there in the world, so that we want to be able to reach this tipping point, this critical mass that will affect decision makers. This is really critically important in terms of reaching out to new constituencies that we would never in a million years thought that we could have had access to. We're talking about, I don't know how many countries represented around the world, but hundreds, and to the far corners of the earth where people will actually access information that they perhaps may not have had via television, radio, etc., etc.
It also puts a powerful tool into people's hands. Like one of our main constituencies is teachers. This is a really powerful new tool. On the landing page on our website, where you'll be able to download these layers and learn more about the whole initiative, we're going to be doing some training, if you will, for teachers to use this tool to create timelines, to create videos that they can use in a classroom. It used to be some years ago, we have some animated maps on our website already. Those are among the most popular kind of resource downloaded from our website, but they took a lot of time to make. This can be made and shown very, very quickly on their own.
There's a question back there.
Frank Davies, San Jose Mercury News. I'm curious, since you're going to be drawing in millions of people, as you said, many of them for the first time, through this preview, what sort of concrete things can they do, or do you hope they will do? Will there be links, for example, to relief and human rights organizations, or ways for individuals to contact and lobby their governments, that sort of thing?
One of the links in every balloon that pops up is a link that says, what can I do? That leads to an area on the website where there's a short list of things that you can do, including talking to the media, writing to the media, because it's a very powerful way of instilling action and getting the word out. It also includes links to the kinds of organizations you talked about.
And most importantly, is it the number one item that we talk about is becoming informed, becoming knowledgeable about what's going on out there, and sharing this with your friends. Again, all in an effort to build this constituency.